sure the audio is working and we're ready to go. Yeah. And does it take a second for it to get all choppy and wake up? Not as slow as it was yesterday. That's a good sign. All right, good. All right. Well, I'm a little choppy. It's a little max headroom. That's the, okay, there we go. Now I see it. It's loading. Gonna have to change a new name graphic. All right, I'm just piece by piece breaking this down till it all wakes up. How you doing? Welcome to the show. And, we're doing a soft roll. It's middle of the week. And I already, worked today, as it were, when I was on Steph's show. Of course, they asked me to be on for Legendary Comedians Week. And, that's the day it didn't work, I guess. The show didn't go out on Sirius, so they're having problems sending their feed to Westwood One, so they had to play a best of or something like that. That's the timing. That's how it works or whatever. You can bet that I had plenty of notes for them technically over at the Stephanie Miller Show. But it was they were up on their other sites and all that kind of stuff. And one of these days, I'm going to convince them to move that whole contraption away from Free Speech TV and to YouTube and Twitch and the like, and just join the rest of humanity, where everybody else is peddling their wares. Got you on Steph's podcast. Excellent, Lemaire. So it definitely got out there. And I like that, but it is, thanks. That's very sweet, Rob. I have so many questions about CAD for you. Like we need to schedule FaceTime because it's, yeah. New technology at the house, and I have some questions just from me to you. Hi, everybody else. Just talking to Rob for a second. All right, so there we go. Why not both or all? I agree, Olga, although I think there may be limitations because of their contract with Free Speech TV as to whether or not they can stream live on other sites or something. Usually, the exclusivity part is what sells most of the time. There you have it. That part is immaterial. I just don't think it's as good. YouTube is too restrictive, maybe, but not for them. They wouldn't run into it. Not the way I do, because they play by radio rules anyways. So all their stuff's going to fall safely within it. They don't swear. There's all this kind of stuff. See the interview where Gomert asked if the Bureau of Law. Oh, we're going to get to that. Oh, narg, we're going to get to that. As a matter of fact, let's get to it right away, shall we? Let's move this over here. Is it? Yeah. Okay. So it just takes a minute for this to. My hair's still wet from that's just crazy today. So Louis Gohmert, bless his head. All right. Well, this is what Narg was talking about. Let's just dive into this. I have not listened to the clip yet. I avoided listening to it. I just know of it by legend at this point.
I understand.
Oh, hold on. I'm doubling up my audio in my ear. Just a terrible way to live. Oh, yeah.
From what's been testified to the Forest Service and the BLM, you want very much to work on the issue of climate change. I was informed by the immediate past director of NASA that they have found that the moon's orbit is changing slightly, and so is the Earth's orbit around the sun. We know there's been significant solar flare activity. And so is there anything that the National Forest Service or BLM can do to change the course of the moon's orbit or the Earth's orbit around the sun?
And by the way, this is a flailing attempt at pleading ignorance, internal sarcasm, soft mockery of science.
Obviously, that would have profound effects on our climate.
So what he's saying, by the way, in this is not, quite frankly, what has been stated in a bunch of these things that he's dumb. It's that he is mocking the idea of man-made climate change or man's impact on climate change, and is laying it all off on the moon's orbit is changing, the Earth's orbit around the sun is changing, and therefore that's what's causing the changes we're seeing in the climate. There's nothing to do with our behavior, and therefore you guys can't do anything about that, so why are you even involved in climate change? That's what this is about.
I would have to follow up with you on that one, Mr. Gohmert.
Yeah. Well, if you figure out a way that you in the Forest Service can make that change. I'd like to know. Also, just
So again, this is him mocking the idea that how many trees we have and how much breathable air we have and how the temperature of the climate is affected by, man's deforestation activities and industrial activities, that's not what's causing all this change. Yeah, there's climate change, but it's not us. It's the moon and the stars and the God in the sky. And nothing we do will ever change that because God painted the sky blue a long time ago and it's going to stay that way. And until he's mad and he paints it red and we all go to Jesus camp in space. And that's what Louis Gohmert is talking about with this. Let's be abundantly clear. Louis Gohmert is a moron, but this is an example of him being an anti-science bigot as opposed to a moron in this case. He's got moronic ideas, but this is him attempting to shoot down the concept of man's effect on climate change for NASA told me the moon's falling out of the sky. In which case, why this asshole is not screaming at NASA for giant space arcs then is beyond me. You know what I mean? Might be, Louis, you might be on the wrong panel. Maybe go scream at NASA to build giant spaceships so we can get the fuck off this rock if that's the case. And find some way to take a whale with us, because if we've learned anything from Star Trek, at some point a giant monolith with whale skin is going to fly through the sky and want to communicate, and we won't be able to communicate with them. Yeah, at least he's not cheeking a tooth. Ugh, God. I did say Jesus Space Camp. I thought it was pretty great. That's a good analogy, don't you think? Space farce. Yes. So, Louis, you're in the wrong room.
Captain's log.
Okay, so that's what that's about, by the way. Although that is not, I repeat, not, let me go back to this page. That is not the kind of big clip that's going around currently in terms of idiocy on the actual internet. There's there's a lot of big dumb stuff going around. And let's see where we'll find. I'll just type in. Here we go. COVID magnetic. Let's just go that. It's kind of like a know the facts CDC. Okay. We'll find her. Where is she? Oh, it's gonna be good. Hold on. Here. Oh, here she is. Microchips. There. That's not. Yeah, I want the video though. I don't want the article. Oh my lord. Okay, so here's this is what's making the rounds on the interwebs, by the way. This is apparently Fiji's COVID-19 vaccination is magnetic. Watch this video from an Indo-Fijian lady in Fiji with nail clipper attached to her arm where she got her vaccination done. Magnetic vaccine Fiji. This is the
मैग्नेट तो मैग्नेट नेल कटा भी छपके बोलो
the kids are just lining up with stuff to stick to mom. So this came from a woman. There's a lot of this going around. IRGC member says new technology claims it uses magnetic fields, bipolar virus to detect COVID-19 from 100 meters away on 5 seconds. Okay, that's different. Bombshell. Source of magnetic COVID vaccines. Alex Jones and Rob Dew discuss the current sci-fi world we are entering with magnetic engineered source of. I have not tried to magnetize anything to me. I should probably try that live on the air. Use a magnet challenge stud finder to locate your vaccination. See where it's getting in your system. This guy's sticking vaccine crystals and COVID vaccines. Check it out. He's sticking. He's magnetically sticking a bottle cap to his neck. This dude, here we go. Let me wipe off my arm. And then the skull, let's see. Still thinking COVID-19, magnetic medium. And the vaccine is not for COVID-19. You are being tracked and they will download your wicked agenda. I'm guessing, all right, we'll see. Our patented scanning technology changes in the Earth's magnetic field. We got to find this COVID-19 vaccine side effect, Pfizer magnetism. My past PhD student instructor recently found out that she can attract magnetic materials. This is not due to any incidents in the lab. That we have to see.
Good morning.
Hi.
I woke up 5 minutes ago and
Something fell off of you. I don't think you're magnetic.
I watched a video that somebody actually uploaded somewhere
Yeah, I mean, yeah, somewhere.
indicating that he got the first shot of vaccine Sinopharm, that I believe that's a Chinese vaccine. He was in another country, actually, back home in my country, Iran. And he said that one of his friends shared with him that he got some side effect of the vaccine, and the side effect was a specific power, let's say. So that
It's turning everyone into powder.
I tried to test on myself, so I got my second dose of Pfizer more than a month ago. So this is a fork,
That's true.
and this is my body.
I'll take your word for it.
I'm not wearing anything.
That's not true. You're wearing a shirt and you've got a bra underneath, and I mean, you're obviously wearing something. Wearing nothing, I think, is a violation of YouTube's terms of service, but we'll work with you.
And I have a magnetic effect. My husband doesn't have it. He got his first shot and the second shot same time as me, and you can see that around my neck I am magnetized. So I am a magnetic woman. I tested. I don't
She's a magnetic woman.
have it anywhere else. I just
You've been placing that fork everywhere? I hope you washed it.
have it on around my neck, not actually on my neck, just here. So
Just the,
it's
yeah.
amazing. And just to share with you, I have some severe pain here. So I thought that's related to my immune system, because I have a disordered immune system. So test it. Do you have this
I gotta tell you, I need to find, hold on, let me find something that I can say. Let's see, would an actual magnet work? I suppose, right? Am I magnetic? Now, my question is, no, so it's green magnet, so you probably, that's where I got my shot. Nothing is sticking. Only thing magnetic about me is my personality. Damn it! I'm sure there's something else. My question is anyone repulsing things? Because that would be the dead giveaway. So, just glue on the fork. That would probably be.
side effect?
Or she's just leaning it against her chest and it's sticking there. But it's a great way to get your videos up, I suppose. Open is using magnetic beads, RNA interaction plates for COVID-19. Thanks for suggesting modular liquid handler. Oh, that's sweet. Want one of those. How magnetic is your city? I got my second vaccine shot, and I'm magnetic, y'all. Look at this.
See here, I'm magnetic. Oh my god, I'm magnetic. Let's try my arm where I got my shot. Oop.
Nope.
There's more oil than.
Yeah, hold on. Let me show you something. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's kind of incredible. It's a rare thing. I have to find, people will think I'm faking because here's, I'm magnetic, but only to guitar picks. If you'll notice, I can, if I stick a guitar pick, it will just, and these are not even metal guitar picks. That's just how magnetic I am. And it'll, like on my arm, see that? It just doesn't, it's amazing how, and it's good when you do, when I do the guitar pick sticking to my forehead, I can do my, oh, it didn't work. I'm obviously, I put the wrong side forward. That's what it was. That I can do my impersonation of a groupie the next morning. Where'd everybody go? All right, so anyways, I just tried it with a fork, it sticks. Right on. Did you lick the fork? Because that's pretty much all it takes. You just lick the back of the thing and yeah, depending on the weight, it'll stay. I am magnetic, but only on an emotional level. Okay, here it is. Anti-vax doctor told the State House Committee in Ohio she saw videos on the internet showing people can make spoons, forks, keys, stick on their body because of COVID. COVID vaccine doesn't make you magnetic. So this is...
And it was, because right now we're all kind of hypothesizing. I mean, what is it that's actually being transmitted that's causing all of these things? Is it a
It's 5G, clearly.
combination of the protein, which now we're finding has a metal attached to it? I'm sure you've seen the pictures all over the internet of people
Yeah, of course.
who've had these shots and now they're magnetized.
Yeah, and it was funny that they're magnetized, and if they approach a magnet of any sort, they don't repulse that magnet because they're not distinctly polar magnetized. Hal, that's where I put my pick between sets. It's a good place for it, Benny Logo.
They can put a key on their forehead, it sticks. They can put
Yeah, a key.
spoons and forks all over them and they can stick, because now we think that there's a metal piece to that. There's been people who've long suspected that there was some sort of an interface, yet to be defined, an interface
But yeah, some sort of vibe, maybe the ethers.
between what's being injected in these shots and all of the 5G towers.
I was joking about 5G. I didn't even say so is it is 5G ricocheting off and making look, okay.
Not proven yet,
Well, no, of course not. Why bring it up?
but we're trying
If it was proven.
to figure out what is it that's being transmitted to
it?
these unvaccinated people.
It's a dumbass ray that hits you right in the noggin.
And some of the information that I think had been discussed on your podcast related to EMF frequencies.
That was a thought.
And
Yeah. I was just spitballing.
And it
Would
was,
you-
because
can you
now, because
elaborate
right
on
now,
that?
And electromagnetic frequencies are a frequency. There's not a. It's like when they made Chips, the show, which we love. Poncha John, thumbs up. Was California Highway Patrol. That's where Chips got its name. And then they made a sequel to the show called California Highway Patrol, Chips Patrol. They made Chips Patrol, and that would be California Highway Patrol, which was aggravating.
right now we're all kind of hypothesizing. I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, why stop there?
what is it that's actually being transmitted that's causing all of
5G magnetic rays, clearly.
these things? Is it a combination of the protein, which now we're finding has a metal attached to it? I'm sure you've seen the pictures all over the internet of people who've had these shots.
Oh, okay, this is cycling back through. There's another lady who says this, who demonstrates it. Oh, man, maybe it's in here. Demonstration. Because that's what I wanted to see. Thank you for letting me know. Did it show up? Is there nothing? They're not letting me see this? Rats. Demonstration. Okay. This is just demonstrations of a magnetic field. Look at this dude flying next to a plane, and it's Mr. Davenport. All right. It's like, all right, where in the world? Oh, in the DMs? Thank you. I will look there. Thanks, CSL. Gotcha. You don't have to yell. I'll see it. I will. I'll see it. I just don't open my DMs on the air. That would be a mistake. That would be unfair to the. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Beautiful lady doing her thing, talking about magnets and we're dealing. Okay, here we go. This is. It's lovely.
Found out something when I was on lunch and I wanted to show it to you. We were
Oh no, here it comes.
talking about Dr. Tenpenny's testimony about
Yeah, it's pronounced Tinpenny, and that's why it won't stick.
magnetic vaccine crystals. So this is what I found out. So I have a key and a bobby pin here.
Give it.
Explain to me why the key sticks to me.
The oil in your skin?
It sticks to my neck too.
No, it doesn't. It's because the oil in your skin. Because there's oil in your skin.
Yeah, so if somebody can explain this, that would be great.
I would say the oil in your skin and the slope of your sternum gives it just enough friction to hang on. Weight versus, it's called physics, actually. It's physics. This woman is fantastic. They drove there together. That's the unfortunate thing.
Great.
Unfortunately. Oh my God. Yeah, it's almost like it's the oil in your skin sticking to it and it falls off when you move because...
Any questions?
Yes. How many fingers am I holding up? The answer is all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, just so you know, it's the pick effect. It's the, oh my God, this card still sticks to my, I don't understand why. It's the magnetic strip in these cards is sticking to me. It's great because when I go to the grocery store, I can cleat, like, I don't even have to, like, you ever entering in your stuff on the phone and you're like, oh, I gotta put an app, I have to use Apple Pay, I have to put my credit card. But in this case, I have just the card will stick to my face. And that way I scan it with my face. And when I open my phone, it's ready to pay. It's so easy and stuff. Why is it just sticks? It's amazing. It has to be the thing that is doing. Can someone explain to me why that my oily face can just stick this thing all over the place? I mean, it's serious. It started to worry me. It was staying so well. It's funny, but like I've noticed, like if any metal object, like if you take a push pin like this and it will stick. Someone please explain to me how. Sorry, I'm not gonna stick myself with a real pin for that joke. Oh, poor little thing. That's good. Maybe pick something up that's big and then, or maybe wash your arm with some alcohol. Try it again, because it will take the oil off your skin, and then the slight dampness. And if it's humid, like where the Fijian lady was, where it's very damp all the time, you don't even have to lick the goddamn thing to just make it stick, 'cause it'll stick anyways. Look, guys. I have had the Pfizer vaccine and nothing is wrong with me. Oh my God. I have a 5G modem and it is making this card stick to my face. Any questions? Yeah. I'll have you know, I went for a snack and I tried to open the fridge and I stuck to it. And then my husband started using me to hold up kids' artwork. And I think this woman just farted on this lady. I'm not 100% sure, but this dude's like, dude, you wrecked it for all of us. So yeah, so that's the big story. I'm just saying, for the record, the reason shit is sticking to you is because it's humid. You're using very light items with a heavy friction base to the, even though it seems smooth. It's why people can breathe on a spoon and stick it to their nose. Yeah, you know that trick? You're just doing that trick on your whole fucking body, you moron. Honestly, wouldn't it be amazing? Somebody needs to go to one of these things with a spoon and goes, oh my God, and stick the spoon to their nose. Yeah. Is that the odd people's court? Yeah, it's the peepholes court. So yeah, that's in case anybody's wondering why that's happening on a scientific level, I'm very happy to tell you that that's precisely it. You damp, oily bastard. That's what's wrong with you. Yeah, debunked. And of course, thumbtacks will stick to you if you use them sharp side in. And please don't try to prove look, I'll show here. I'll even take a real magnet. Let's see, what's a good one that will show up on screen? Yeah, this is a magnet from my magnet board, whatever. Look at that. Oh my God, I'm magnetic, guys. It even works with magnets. This magnet is sticking to my forehead. Explain to me. This would be a good ad for showcasing in the channel in Canada. Hi, Canada. This is from this is a Queer as Folk magnet that I got in a gift bag or something like that. And it sticks. It's amazing. Oh my God. I should have never gotten the Pfizer. God damn it. I'm going to get a YouTube strike for medical misinformation because I'm licking magnets and sticking them to my forehead. This is so stupid. Folks, it's a pile of bullshit. Come on. Ow. Oh my God, I should have never got Moderna comes off so much easier. Oh God, some people are so good. I found this out during the break. I don't even know if I want to show you. This sticks to my, it doesn't, it stuck to me. I don't know what it was. This kind of thing. Let me show, Your Honor, let me see, see, look, I'm right. This is where I got the shot too. This is the vaccine. I got it right in my cheek. No, I haven't tried it on that cheek. Oh my God, have they tried it with an old car bumper? These people need to not, please, anyone who's concerned that you may be turning magnetic because of your Pfizer vaccine, stay away from your refrigerator or your dishwasher, and definitely do not go anywhere near traffic because you will be sucked in with the flow of traffic, and depending on your BMI, you may be dragged for a while. And do not use, please go get a 3G flip phone for your own safety. Good God. Oh, who knew I was so magnetic? All right, let's go back to, let's start off and by the way, just in case, hold on, if this all loads back up, it takes a second. I should not, that's maybe partly what I should do, is not deload the name stuff in between. Maybe that's part of the problem. That's probably what it is. Turn on the jar and see if, I'm gonna try this with the jar. I'm opening it up to see if it does it, but it's part of why things are choppy, I think. Yeah, it's too slow. Weirdo. Yeah, never mind. Yeah. Close cause I'm choppy. Close cause I'm choppy. Choppy, choppy, choppy. Oh yeah. Okay, turn that off. Take that. Minus. Okay, remove it. There you go. Hopefully that will speed things up. There you go. Yeah, a lot of these things, that's what's happening, is my browser source things, which we love so much, are all getting, yeah. Where's my satire button? I know, I had to turn that off because it was freaking out. Hold on. That was part of what was making everything do that. So yeah, I can't. I need just like flashing text. I'll work on it. Milk of magnetic. Stuck on you. At this feeling down deep in my soul, and I just can't lose. Yes, I'm on my way. By the way, just in case you think this is only happening at gatherings, like, Rudy Giuliani level. Look at this. What's wrong with me? Intentionally added to the shot, and it's deadly. It's called magnetism. Run, run, run. This is on BitChute, of course. This is the psychopath YouTube, I think. This is like YouTube for psychopaths. Jim Crenshaw, no relation to Dan. Let's see what this is. Let's see the source behind this.
Hi,
Hi. Oh, that was loud. God damn. All right, hi.
Dr. Katia Castillo, and I have been practicing
Hello.
OBGYN for 26 years. When my pregnant patients ask me whether they should get vaccinated against COVID-19, I tell them that vaccination protects them from this serious disease.
That's right. Do not trust your doctor if she recommends the vaccine. Why are you... Look at the video over top of this. What?
I know COVID-19 disease can be very serious in pregnant women. It can affect pregnancy or the baby. Millions of people, including pregnant women, have gotten these safe and effective vaccines. Learn more at cdc.gov.
Yes, agreed. Yes. YouTube, for the record, I agree with this woman, not what they're going to say about what she's saying in the little text up on this. Look at this crap.
And on Friday at the G7, we will decide effectively who lives and who dies, who is to be vaccinated and is therefore safe, and who is not to be vaccinated and therefore is at risk. We will decide.
By the way, this is a clip which I think they're obviously slicing up for dramatic effect. The idea is that they're talking about the industrialized countries, first world countries are making all this vaccine, and we've only got a limited supply, so we're giving it out to people, and it's a very difficult decision for these folks, because they're going, effectively, who we give it to, they'll survive, and who we don't, they might die from this, and that's a big deal.
Decide effectively who lives and who dies.
Working in the ER.
Texas State Senate, May 2021, seeing more complications from the shot than the actual COVID.
I'm now seeing more people come in who are having complications from the COVID shot. They're short of breath for 2 weeks after they received the shot 2 weeks before. They're having temporary neurologic episodes where their legs don't work and they fall flat on their face.
and you've ruled out every other aspect of this, and you know this is related to the fact that they've gotten the shot, like how? These are your regular patients, I'm assuming?
They're having dizziness, shortness of breath, and lightheadedness, and feel like they're going to pass out. And so I'm seeing more, at this point, more complications from the shot.
As a doctor, Dr. Richard Bartlett, MD, you should know that unless you can correlate it directly, you're talking out of your ass.
In Lubbock, a college town, 18-year-olds coming in excellent health before the shot, coming in 4 days later with 4 days of symptoms, or a gentleman who's short of breath for 2 weeks, or the lady who falls flat.
For the lady who falls, so he's had one.
Flat on her face, and so it's...
A lady falls flat on her face, and...
I am seeing complications afterwards. That's being reported, but in this last shift, I had no COVID patients come in 48 hours. So we're...
So, all right, so let's say he's seeing people. Let's listen to what his argument was. Did you guys just in case you missed that little piece, he said, lately he's seen more people come in with complications. The complications are 18-year-olds who got the shot and have had 4 days of symptoms, meaning they had flu-like symptoms, I guess, and they attribute it to that, whether it was or not. That's fine. And then a lady who fell flat on her face because her legs stopped working, which I don't know how he ties or excludes that medically from anything else that could be afflicting her. But let's just give him the benefit of the doubt that he said more people he's seen for complications. So far, that's 3 people he's mentioned. And the reason he's seen more people with complications is because he's assuming that they are complications and not other medical issues. Or neurological issues out of panic over it because they've got a doctor that's like, I don't know if I should give you this shit. And then he's saying, I've seen more of those than COVID patients, and then says in 24 hours I haven't even seen any. I have 0. So 0 times. Right. Mm-hmm.
So we're in a different state now.
We're still in Texas.
Hi there, working here at the GP surgery, just to let you see this happening.
Which vaccine do you use? Pfizer vaccine. When?
Yeah, I'm sure if you rinsed off your arm and you did it again, do it again. Yeah, take other stuff.
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. My body is a...
Make sure you're leaning your head that way. You don't want to sit your head straight up, because if your head's straight up, it might not stay. It's because of the same sloping effect that you're seeing. All right. It's magnetic.
Our question is, why?
I'll tell you why. If it was magnetic, you could set your head straight up. She even had her arm out too, and she had it on there.
Why?
Why?
We don't want to complain. We don't want to talk negative. Yes?
Not at all.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Just we want to know what's happening. Please.
Maybe set your head up straight and see if you recognize that in the obviously very humid environment you're in and the amount of oil that's on your skin, that it's not... And there's a very strong chance the key's not even magnetic itself, that it's tin or something else. You can't... Oh, good Lord.
Help us.
I'm helping you. Oh, that one won't stick. I wonder why.
Esto para que digan los medios de
Oh, it's amazing. It's almost like the nose trick on your back.
desinformación masiva que es un bulo. Lo estoy viendo con mis ojos.
Why will it only stick on her shoulder blades? It's a weird thing. It's the exact same nose angle. Oh, we're back at that clinic again.
Vaccine, and this is not a joke. And this is not a joke. Yes, and this is what is happening to him.
Stick the bottom of the phone to your face.
I got it here.
I've been looking for my keys for like 6 hours and no one can help me.
Which one? AstraZeneca or the Pfizer?
I don't know. My daughter can tell me. She's outside. I think it's Pfizer.
Pfizer. And your body is magnetic now. You are my mama magnet. Guys, she's a magnet like me. Thank you, Pfizer. No wonder, I feel. Yes.
Yes, he's almost. Yes. Yeah.
I don't think anything happened.
Here is the GP.
They went and reported in Canada. They said the human.
Well, last week on Friday, we talked with Brittany Galvin, a
She was of the galvanized galvaners.
vaccine injury victim that's been hospitalized in Florida and whose neurologist has confirmed that her serious diagnosis is a direct result of the Moderna injection.
Yeah, because she was apparently walking near a helicopter and was sucked up into the blades.
Being referred to as a so-called COVID vaccine, falsely.
So-called. That's adorable.
By the way, we have reached out to that neurologist, and we hope that he will be brave enough to make an appearance on this.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't be brave enough to be on the Stu Peterson show?
Program. Her diagnosis is called Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is commonly referred to as a rare disorder. The disease forces your body's immune system to first attack your nerves, resulting in weakness and tingling in your extremities at the beginning, but ultimately resulting in full body paralysis and death. Since talking with Brittany,
death by rain
on this program, I have received hundreds of emails from victims of the jab saying that they too have received this exact diagnosis.
Terrible.
And when they try to tell the world, they're censored, blocked, banned,
are they?
And canceled. They're scared to death for their own lives. But
why? What kind? I mean,
at the same time, have the strength and bravery, like Brittany, to be concerned about the rest of us, particularly our kids. Tragic. Social media has also been flooded with countless videos of people sticking metal objects to themselves, an unexplainable phenomenon that at first seemed fringe for medical professionals and scientists.
Yeah, just stick it up there where the slope is more direct, and
who were actually reluctant to associate this apparent magnetism with the COVID shot.
Keep trying.
You go figure it out. We're chipped. We're all.
Brittany
we're chipped, so we're all fucked, she said.
Galvin's Instagram account blew up after she publicly shared several self-recorded videos and then one of her team of doctors who was shocked when they themselves tested her magnet theory and saw that it was indeed real.
Fantastic.
I've received so many emails about this.
You're not playing it?
Magnetism since that interview. I can't even keep up.
Yeah, well, I mean,
but nobody with medical credentials really wanted to talk about it. And the comments on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and all the other platforms were mostly skeptics having a hard time believing that these people were credible.
Yeah, and I don't know why you wouldn't watch a video where it starts with the trick and ends with the trick without any other preparation to make you know that it's there's a control to the circumstance. You know, take something like coins, for example, which aren't magnetic, and American coins, stick them to you, which a lot of people do, and they still stick. And obviously, they wouldn't stick because of magnetism unless it's some sort of space ether thing, right? That's the So your complaint apparently with a lot of these folks is that we're not buying the bullshit because you're starting and stopping at the moment of the sales pitch.
We can't say that anymore.
Well, you can say whatever you want. It just isn't true.
It is real. It's
what about Israel?
Scary, and it's
very scary.
It's becoming undeniable to everyone that would like for you to believe that it's a hoax.
Yeah, that's not a pin on his lapel. It just stays. Every time he tries to take his zipper down, it goes right back up because his belly button's magnetic because he had it. I think it's AstraZeneca is what causes that.
Jane Ruby is an international health economist with over 20 years in pharmaceutical research experience. She's a medical expert, a Stu Peters Show contributor, and she joins us now. Dr. Ruby.
Very exciting.
This is horrific.
Yeah, Dr. Ruby, I'm surprised you can be that close to a camera from in a television studio at, I guess, Good Afternoon Tulsa, and it doesn't just slam into you?
Stuart, you hit the nail on the head. It's real.
We doesn't have to. The nail will drive itself.
We know it's real. There's an entire science in the literature about it.
Yes, about magnetism.
And we also know something else that's really tragic and horrific. It was intentionally added to these injections. Why, you're asking me?
Oh, sorry, I forgot. That was my mistake.
in the literature about it. And we also know something else that's really tragic and horrific. It was intentionally added to these injections. Why, you're asking me?
See, I did it that time. Interesting.
Because it is a more aggressive delivery mechanism to get it into every cell in your body. It's a process called magnetofection. And
Magnetofection. It sounds like a caramelizing effect. Let's see. All right, let's look up. 1, 2, 3. I mean, hey, we're going to dig into this. Why not? What the heck, you know? Magnetofection. Here we go. Magnetofection. And this is a good picture, too. Magnetofection. Magnetofection is a novel, simple, and highly efficient method to transfect cells in culture. It exploits magnetic force exerted upon gene vectors associated with magnetic particles to draw the vectors forward, possibly even into the target cells. In this manner, the full vector dose applied gets concentrated on the cells within a few minutes so that 100% of the cells gets in contact with a significant vector dose. This has several important consequences. Greatly improved transfection rates in terms of percentage of cells transfected compared to standard transfection. Up to several thousand-fold increased levels of transgene expression compared to standard transfections upon short-term incubation. High transfection rates and transgene expression levels that are, okay, blah, blah, blah. Extremely short process time, few minutes of incubation of cells with gene vectors are sufficient to generate high transfection vectors. Okay, regions in the manufacture of magnetofection technology. Chemicell offers 2 types of ready-to-use magnetofection. Yeah, so here's the polymag, which is really scary and will sleep with anyone, is a universally applicable magnetic particle preparation for highly efficient nucleic acid delivery. It is mixed in a 1-step procedure with nucleic acid to be transfected and used successfully with plasmid DNA, antisense, oligonucleotides. Yeah. Oligonucleotides, there we go, and siRNAs. CombaMag is a magnetic particle preparation designed to be combined with any commercially available transfection reagent, such as polycations, and lipids, and can be associated with plasmid DNA, antisense oligonucleotides, and siRNAs or viruses. It allows you to create your own magnetic gene vector based on your favorite transfection reagent. Collect all 5. Yes, okay, so that's what she's talking about, just so we know. All right.
And it's this.
But you do realize that doesn't make you magnetic. I'm just saying.
All this information is readily available. You can do the research.
No, I don't. No one's thinking that, but that's not what it looks like, is my problem. All right.
Research yourself. You can look at the government's website, PubMed, to look at the peer-reviewed journal studies that have been published on this particular science.
And is there a warning in there in the peer-reviewed journals that say, danger, do not go near a fork factory?
And what it is, Stu, is they are using magnetic fields through different chemicals to actually concentrate the RNA, the mRNA into people's cells. This is in alignment with everything we've been reporting for weeks now. We just know what and how is behind these magnetic phenomenon where people are having.
Well, obviously they're not related or even correlated again, but this is fun.
These items are sticking to them.
Mm-hmm. Even though they're not items that are magnetic, when people have been putting US coins on themselves, for example.
So what it is it's part of the lipid nanoparticle, and it's a super delivery system. And
it's awesome.
There are places in your body that, other synthetic DNA or RNA should not be going.
Yeah. Are there places where synthetic DNA should be going?
And yet this approach forces the material,
yeah, if you can't tell from this stock footage clip art stuff, I don't know.
mRNA encoding to force your cells, again, to make over and over again these dangerous spike proteins all over your body. It's actually a forced gene delivery system. And I wanted to share with the audience.
Oh, terrible. I'm very excited.
You're going to be hearing something more and more about something called SPIONS. It's an acronym, SPIONS.
Okay, of course. Let's hear more about that. Let me look it up. SPIONS. This is how the government's going to spy on us? Oh, this is good. What she's talking about is super paramagnetic iron oxide nanoparticles, development of surface modification applications in chemotherapy. At present, nanoparticles are used for various biomedical applications where they can facilitate laboratory diagnostics and therapeutics, more specifically for drug delivery purposes. The use of nanoparticles in attracting increasing attention due to their unique capabilities and their negligible side effects, not only in cancer therapy, but in the treatment of other ailments. Among all types of nanoparticles, biocompatible superparamagnetic iron oxide nanoparticles, which sounds fucking awesome, with proper surface architecture and conjugated targeting ligands/proteins have attracted a great deal of attention for drug delivery applications. This is in 2016. Obviously, someone from Hillary's camp wrote this. This review covers recent advances in the development of spions, together with their possibilities and limitations from fabrication to application in drug delivery. In addition, the state-of-the-art synthetic routes and surface modification of desired spions for drug delivery purposes are described. So that's what she's going to talk about. Now, what they do is they reverse engineer their own nightmares by taking real literature and going, oh my God, that sounds so scary. Let's talk about how scary it sounds.
And it stands for...
Can you imagine these assholes describing gravity?
Supramagnetic iron oxide nanoparticles.
Yeah, I said that. I just read it for the first time, and I said it way faster. I just sound way more convincing than you do. I'm just saying that as you're supposed to be his expert on the Stu Particulate show.
We're putting
Stewed Tomatoes show.
This magnetic field technology is in and around the lipid nanoparticle envelope that we've also talked about.
Well, yeah, of course.
To get this mRNA into your cells. Why do they need to do that? Because well,
they don't need to do it. It's according to the abstracts on it, it'd be a very effective way of getting stuff into the system that has fewer side effects than other processes that they would use this. But please, clip art.
RNA is so delicate, so easily degraded. It's another reason why it has to be stored. If you know, the Pfizer shot material has to be stored at least 70 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. So let me share something else with your audience.
Please.
There's a company.
Please stick a key to your forehead while you do it.
On the internet, and one of.
Please, can you? I want. Just for my own comedic sake, I just want a shovel to just go wha-bang, just like fly in from the side. Like, I've removed all metal objects from the area just so I can get through this whole thing. I don't know how in the world,
You lied to me!
Yeah.
One of many, by the way. I've been doing all my digging. It's called...
Well, I hope you're using a rubber shovel.
Chemicell. It's in Berlin, Germany.
Oh, well, that should tell you something. Nazis!
Advertise, Stu, all kinds of products. There are hundreds of components that you can use to create these magnetic fields around your molecule, right? Mm-hmm. You can buy it in 200 microgram vials. It's called Polymag.
Right. And do you recognize how minute the magnetic force is in that? And how extraordinarily large it would have to be to hold anything.
I want to share with your audience the disclaimer on Chemicell's website in case
very excited. Yes.
You want to
avoid don't go anywhere near a pitchfork factory within 21 hours.
Buy a little bit of these magnetic fields and attach them to mRNA before you stick them into the human race. And I quote the company: "The magnofection reagents and all of its components are developed, designed, intended, and sold for research use only." And here's the frightening part, Stu.
Okay, get ready. I'm very scared.
They are not to be used for human diagnostic or any drug intended for humans.
Yeah, that's because when they're at the trial phase and they haven't done the testing on humans yet. This is a new technology not being used. Just so you know. And by the way, real quick question. I don't want you to be pressed for time, but don't you have to do the weather? All right.
And this is in these so-called vaccines?
No, it isn't.
These components are what they use, Pfizer and Moderna at least, used in their injections in these vials. This is why people...
No, they didn't. Chemicell is not used in the Pfizer vaccine. What are you talking about? Hold on. What are the ingredients of the COVID vaccine? This is MIT. COVID jabs. What's in there? There we go. Here's the MIT technology review. What are the ingredients of Pfizer's COVID-19? The rumors suggesting Bill Gates has installed tracking microchips in his shots of the inoculations against luciferase, a glowing chemical from fireflies whose name makes some people think of the devil. The company suggests, okay, official vaccine, okay, active ingredient. Nucleoside modified messenger RNA, that's what encodes the viral spike glycoprotein that fights it, right? Lipids, okay, I do not see, okay, salts, potassium chloride, monobasic potassium phosphate, sodium chloride, basic, that's mostly for flavor, and then sucrose. There, let's see, reading the ingredients look like a side of a cereal box, except you need, there you go, the mRNA. Here's the lipids. The Pfizer vaccine, like one from Moderna, uses lipid nanoparticles to encase the RNA. The nanoparticles are basically tiny greasy spheres that protect the mRNA and help it slide inside cells. Hello. I can feel it, darling. These particles are probably around 100 nanometers across. Curiously, that's about the same size as the coronavirus itself. Pfizer says use 4 different lipids in a defined ratio. The lipid ALC0315 is the primary ingredient in the formation. I mean, I could argue, I could mention that these are what's actually in the, but I don't actually think this lady is going to believe what I am reading from MIT is in. Like, she's going to just assume that this magnetic nanoparticle stuff that's being tested now, that's going to be in there. She's just going to assume that's where it's coming from. And that's why greasy people are able to stick forks to their backs.
You have to get an informed consent. You must be given the ingredients of anything going into your body.
That's what she said.
And last but not least, just wait. We're learning more every day, Stu.
All right, so you just made a very serious and damning allegation on this program. You just said that this substance was intentionally added to...
She holds 2 doctoral degrees in education and psychology, 2 master's degrees in nursing, and in international health economics. Adorable.
To create the substance that's creating this magnetism. How can you substantiate that there was intent?
Well, it doesn't occur naturally. It had to be added to the lipid nanoparticle. It's the component. We've also heard many experts, in addition to myself, talk about the polyethylene glycol portion of the lipid nanoparticle that makes it, a little more fat-philic or fat.
Yeah, the greasy part.
Affinity for fat, which normally would just slip it through.
Oh, I know.
Cell membranes that are very protective. In other words, if you have a
it's a COVID lube. We get
water-based membrane,
Stu, come on,
a lot of other things can get through, but there are places in the body that God innate.
Look at this graphic, by the way. They worked on this one. Somebody took stock footage of the skeleton and stock footage of how a magnet works, and then they overlaid them and set the opacity level of the magnet one at 50%. And I mean, that's magic.
In nature never wanted any foreign material to get into. And by magnetizing these lipid nanoparticles with these...
Man, is she going to be upset when someone explains eating to her?
These chemicals, you are creating a super delivery system, a forced delivery system into parts of the body that are not supposed to be. And that's why...
Well, obviously not forced. The greasy and the magnetic part of it isn't forcing it. It's pulling it in. But I understand you can't talk about panic language without, I got you.
I've been saying for weeks, this material that is injected into your body from these mRNA vaccine shots is going to every part of your body.
Well, no, you're producing antibodies that go throughout your
cell in your body. And while you may not have had an initial reaction that was of any concern, you are headed for disaster.
Dun, dun, dun.
Please do not, if you've gotten one, do not get a second one. If
you've gotten the second one, you have the mark of the beast, and I don't know why you would even go outside, because sunlight would kill you.
You've gotten the 2-shot deal, do not get any boosters. This is going to get worse and worse and worse, and very soon, Stu.
Okay. Wow. Thanks, lady.
Unbelievable. And they're trying to
Yes, I think it's a good word choice, Stu. Unbelievable.
push this onto our kids. 12 to 17. We exposed the Pfizer findings that they tried to hide. They kept very quiet. 86% of children that participated in the Pfizer trial experienced adverse reactions.
What kind of adverse reactions? You mean flu-like symptoms?
Negative side effects.
As opposed to positive side effects? My kid was magnetic, but he was inverse. He was south polarized, and he was able to float for a while.
So is this what explains
why when I get an erection in the morning, I point north?
How Brittany Galvin, for example, was able to move away from the injection site itself and then begin sticking metal objects on, say, her cheek and her forehead. Is that what this is? I mean, it's traveling through her system. It's essentially supercharged.
Yeah, it's funny because it's working in one area and then it stops working and I move it to another area that I haven't touched a bunch and therefore gotten the oil from my skin mixed in with it and make the, all right.
This shot, this jab, whatever substance is in here into...
Yeah, again, magnets don't need help sticking like that.
Traveling quickly and infecting, if you will, every single cell in your body.
Well, it seems to be a fair enough scientific assumption at this.
No, it doesn't. That's a ridiculous scientific assumption. There's no fair enough in that.
Point because
we all watched a video close up of a woman with her phone in her face like this, sticking things for the first time to her face, and then they eventually stop. But if she leans her head slightly, it stays. And that like, good Lord.
Who's ever heard of human beings in general, in good health, having a magnetic force that attracts and holds metal objects to their body, first of all?
Well, I mean, X-Men Days of Future Past. I mean,
secondly, the
powder.
Fact that she was initially sticking these metal objects. If you look at the chronology of her videos, she was originally sticking them only around the injection site. I believe it was on her left arm. And then subsequently she did a video showing that she could get something to stick on her right arm. And then after that, the video that you featured in your interview with her was where she was sticking them onto her forehead.
Yeah, just almost like if I take, Jesus Christ, I feel like, how are we even? Let me find some. Here you go. How about this? Now, like, oh my God, this is so, here's a piece of metal. This is amazing. I can, look at that. Look at that. I'm magnetic. It's just, look, I can make it stay. Like if I just, it's incredible. If I just, oh my God, I'm magnetic. This piece of metal is sticking to my face. How is this even possible? And it doesn't take much if I just fit it to my face. If a piece of metal sticks, Jesus Christ. I don't have a spoon nearby. I would totally do that. My keys are on a ring. I don't think it would work. Yeah. It's sticking, like, it's amazing. Oh, what? Please don't tell me this is aluminum sticking to my head. Oh, how is it possible? I don't know how in the world. And it moves across my face. I was only first able to make it stick to my arm, magically under my shirt. And now I can stick it almost anywhere if I try hard enough and lean far enough back. Oh my God. It is resting. Look at this. It is stuck to my nose. Sorry, I'm just like, all right.
Forehead. This implies to me that there is a
that there is oil on her fucking forehead.
Generalization of this material throughout the body. Now,
yeah, and as a doctor, you would probably say, I can't go by this footage because this is footage of a woman like this sticking things to her face, and I haven't seen that she's cleaned her skin with alcohol, that she's cleaned the object itself with alcohol, that she's placing it in the same place over and over again, and it repeats the same thing. I mean, the kind of thing that, I don't know, scientific shit.
I don't know what the extent of the toxicity of these magnetic fields. It's never been used in human. And as this company in Germany is saying...
Oh, so this might be a good thing? Holy shit. If we're lady, if this makes us able to, like, deal with gravitons and fly, and you fucked it up for everybody by scaring them off the vaccine, I will never forgive you.
It should not be
Now go do the weather.
used in humans. So, Stu, this is just a crime against humanity of epic proportions.
Yeah, this is like there's Auschwitz and oily people laying keys on their forehead for a couple of seconds.
And we're not done talking about it. We're not done seeing the devastation.
Okay, so
no, definitely not.
I want to address the fact checkers.
Okay. While you're at it, though, explain to me why, if you know that people like you aren't going to get a shot, just won't do it, and that it's something that physically you have to be made to do or given, and your goal is to depopulate the planet. Wouldn't you, and I'm just saying, so I'm speculating on a hypotenuse, wouldn't you make it so that the shot is the thing that you opt into, would be the thing that saves you, and anybody who doesn't have access to it or refuses it is the one that dies, because you'd obviously be able to get a larger group of people that way. You'd be able to depop with a real disease and basically an antidote. That would be the theory, right? Is that you create a real disease, you create a vaccine that's an antidote to it, and only people who want to play nice in society and have means and wherewithal to actually get it would survive, and everybody who's too poor to get it or is too antisocial to do it, those are the people that would croak, in theory, right? I mean, if you really had a big evil plan, why would you wipe out all the people who are like, I should do what's best for society?
Okay, and since I have you here, and I know that you're busy, and you have a
she's got traffic in 2 minutes, and then she's got a whole, like, you wouldn't believe, a pair of ducklings separated from their mom walking across the freeway, and a bunch of people helped them.
Limited amount of time, but since I have you,
yeah, I'm sure she's got other crazy BitChute calls to call in on.
I'm looking at something from the CDC itself. It says, can receiving a COVID-19 vaccine cause you to be magnetic?
Obviously, they're in league with it. You don't understand. This is part of the pentaverate.
In all bold, no. Receiving a COVID-19 vaccine will not make you magnetic, including at the site of vaccination, which is usually your arm. COVID-19 vaccines do not contain ingredients that can produce an electromagnetic field at the site of your injection. So let me just ask you flat out, are they just...
Yeah, do you actually believe that? Okay. Excuse me, that was typed up in George Soros's Super Jew synagogue of Satan in the basement of Epstein's Island in a saltwater tank that he has to be kept in because he eats human milkshakes. So, okay, you don't expect me to believe an infographic from the government, do you?
Are they just lying?
Yes, they're lying. And Stu, you know why? Because
why are they lying?
Because the past is prologue.
They're lying because the past is prologue. No. When you assert that they are lying, thanks, Benny. Look, oh yes, I agree. You would argue that if they are lying because they are intentionally misleading on purpose because they have this goal of whatever you're gonna, not because they were incorrect before or Tuskegee Airmen.
They also say that these vaccines are safe and effective, which is an FDA legal term that can only be used after providing certain levels of data that these companies have not provided. They've lied about the numbers. They're throttling the VAERS, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System numbers.
They're throttling VAERS, the virus. They're throttling it. You mean like DeSantis throttled the death rate from COVID in Florida? That kind of throttling?
Every single day. We've got...
Or is the number actually exactly what it is, and you need the number to be bigger, or your argument falls to shit?
Countless numbers of analysts sending us materials every day.
Yeah, the same cases over and over again from the same analysts?
Showing how they're manipulating those numbers.
Okay, what analysts? Whip out the names. This is like the dead people voted thing with Rudy Giuliani. We've got tens of thousands of dead people that voted. Well, if you do, then why are you talking about anything else? Why don't you go in front of the state board in Pennsylvania, instead of calling witnesses like Melissa Crony, why don't you sit there and go, here's a death certificate, here's a ballot, here's who voted, they're dead, this is when they died, here's their relative that said they died, and that's their handwriting. Like, come on.
Those numbers. I mean, I could go on and on.
We know you can go on and on. because you don't actually have to say anything.
About how many lies are listed on the CDC website. And don't forget, the CDC is basically a vaccine patent company. They hold over 58 patents for vaccines that are coming down the pike. So,
yeah, because the American people paid for that research.
You can choose to believe them, but I've provided, to me, the past is prologue. And if they've lied, all the way up till...
Well, if you've bullshitted us so far, why shouldn't we just assume everything you say is bullshit? Because you've said in this that something that's not even at human testing levels, that is not being used, is being used when you have no evidence they're being used. You have no pushback on it. You mentioned the actual lipids that are in the ingredients, as if by knowing the lipids that are actually in there, that you can allow the audience to presume that the other shit you're talking about is also in there, because of course it is, which is a lie and is bullshit. And yet we're supposed to believe you and Stu for the rest of the show, the last 90 seconds of this?
Till now, why would we believe them on the magnification issue, the magnetic?
Magnification issue. It not only does the shot make you magnetic, it also makes you larger. All right, so here we go.
The magnetofection. Anyone can look up magnetofection.
Yeah, we know you're pulling it from somewhere real. We also know you're misusing it to back up whatever the fuck you're talking about.
Look at it on pubmed.gov. That's the government's website.
Why would I believe them? If past is prologue, they lie so much on PubGov, which...
For peer review.
I love how she's like, don't... Look, I wouldn't believe what they write on there, because basically they're just lying all the time. So, but go to their site.
View scientific journals, and you can look at the preclinical research.
Yeah, go read it. I mean, I know you won't, and you'll just take what I'm saying because I'm offering you this possibility, so you'll assume that what I'm saying is truthful because I've eliminated the work for you.
Search and see what they've done, and that it is real, and that when they've used it in animals, they've had very, very negative results.
Have any of the cats been magnetic?
And they've said, please.
They make magnetic mice, and then they give cats magnet fillings. It's like easy.
Proceed cautiously if research advances toward human research.
If.
She impresses me so much every day.
Well, that's because you brought her on to shore up what you want, and you've already pre-concluded that you agree with what she's going to present.
Also with her diligence in getting back to everybody. I don't know how you find the time. Her private and encrypted secure Proton email, Dr. Jane Ruby at protonmail.com. You can also find more on her at drjaneruby.com.
Did you just say moron? That's not nice.
Dr. Ruby, thank you so much.
Real Stu Peters, the people's bullhorn. Well, you're half right. The people's bullshit, maybe.
For being here. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And by the way, this is, just so you know, this is all over BitChute. Like, YouTube is allowing right now, it seems, a lot of like right-wingers back on the platform. And as loony as a lot of those folks are, the Flashpoint crowd that we've talked about, anybody who mentions Jesus before they go into their Trump really won the election, China virus diatribe, gets away with it because because they don't dare touch anybody who says Jesus told me to say this. BitChute. Yeah. B-I-T, shoot. That's this thing right here. It's where all the white supremacy channels are. Like when you think somebody's like, that person's the neo-Nazi, that kind of thing. I'll just show you. So this is the general page of what you're talking about here. First U.S. doctor confirms serious diagnosis, killer jab. Certifies vaccine injury, confirms serious diagnosis after killer jab. And then there's this crazy scientist looking in a thing. And of course, this is where InfoWars is packed all the time. This is where they, let's see, Biden goes mega woke in new budget plan for 2022. That's actually pretty, like, low res. It is slowly killing so many. This young lady's reaction to the jab is sad. And by the way, and that's Jim Crenshaw. That's the same site that's posting a bunch of this stuff. Let's see, the fictional you, dead in the water, dead in the tell no house. Yeah, so pregnant but still dating, LOL, MGTOW. It's MGTOW sites, men going their own way. That's the thing or whatever. This is, Joe Biden 666. There we go. This is Dark Outpost. I mean, this is where they hang. And most of it now, like, you know, for a while it's like, oh, AOC and Green New Deal is really the UN sending jack troops in to make everybody, you know, wear a solar panel everywhere they go because, you know, it'll stop Jesus from coming back, like that kind of stuff. And now it's almost fully this whole pandemic idea that they're pushing. Yeah. Don't let them take your mask away. Yeah. And that's, you know, an ironic one. President Trump, Governor DeSantis, and Kamala Harris must watch. Like, so there's a bunch of this. And Tim Cass puts his stuff there. That's Tim Pool. And so they lay this stuff out on here all the time. This is the main side of it. So that all the magnetic stuff will be on there. That's, I mean, yeah. And that the other stuff that floats up to, and that's where it gets started. And then they peel off some of the obviously egregious bullshit, and then it reaches OAN and then to Newsmax. And if it can break through both of those, then Fox does a segment on it. And it's basically a propaganda and disinfo birthing system. That's how it works. So this is OAN. So this would be the follow-up. This is how you do it, by the way. If you want to create a false narrative or push politics in one particular direction, that's the launch pad for it. You can say that it happens, you know, statistically on both sides in that regard, and that there are delivery systems that kind of get up. And once it clears the vetting process, it makes it to the mainstream media for a story because people can't ignore it anymore. The difference on the right is the extraordinary nature of the claims and the lunacy around it that manages to get all the way up to Tucker and those sites, you know, whereas everything else is like, you'll see.
And one New York State pharmacist says he was let go from his job after raising concerns about administering the COVID vaccine to the younger population.
So he got let go after raising concerns. Is that what happened? Because that's not what the graphic says. The graphic says he refused to administer COVID-19 shots. But please, go on.
One America's Caitlin Sinclair has more.
So Joel, you've been a pharmacist for 7 years in upstate New York, where these past few months you've been administering the COVID vaccine.
Real quick question. Do you give out the morning after pill? Or are you an objectionist on that? Just curious. I just want to see how parallel those tracks are.
Now, you shared with me the first red flag for you happened when you started reminding people this vaccine is not FDA approved, and you got some pretty shocking reactions. Can you briefly share with our viewers, what were those responses like?
First reaction that I received that was most concerning is...
Well, that's an edit.
People would say, well, the first one was, which, you know, leads me to believe that they were not informed. The first, we were giving the Moderna vaccine. Moderna and Pfizer are both a two-part shot series. So the first one, they didn't know that it wasn't FDA approved, which means whoever administered it did not inform.
It got an emergency use authorization from the FDA. Therefore, it was approved for emergency use by the FDA. Does it have full regular FDA approval? No. But it's been approved by the FDA for emergency use. And the idea that it's been expanded into younger people is because the data is rolling out that it is safe and effective. This is not even quite like, if you've been a pharmacist for 7 years, you know the difference between FDA approval as the normal order and the emergency use approval. If they could not approve it, because even though it was for emergency use, it was more damaging or potentially more damaging or had more side effects, then they wouldn't have approved it for emergency use. See what I... The FDA approval that will take a couple of years is going to be the long-term effect part of it that's rolling, and that's you go through. That's why Trump's like, they said maybe 2 years, 3 years it's going to be before they do this. Like,
inform them that this was not an FDA-approved vaccine or shot.
Yes, it was. It was approved for emergency use. It is not the same kind of approval that you get after years of testing like the flu shot or shit like that, but it's approved for emergency use. Otherwise, he wouldn't have even been able to give it out. I mean, it's a distinction without a difference on so many fronts.
Shot. I had a few people say that. I had a handful of people also say, well, then why are they making such a big deal of it? Why is there
Because they need more magnets in the world, dude.
such a push to get this vaccine? Which definitely raised some, I mean, I have had that concern. That's why I'm in the current predicament that I'm in right now.
What predicament is that?
I've been a pharmacist for 7 years, and I have never in my life seen a
pandemic,
a medical situation,
a pandemic
like COVID. Obviously, no one has in the world.
Right.
But this vaccine shot push is, I mean, it's not a good thing, but it's fascinating.
So
It's not a good thing, but it's fascinating. Why is it not a good thing? Explain yourself.
you began to express concern. What did that look like?
So
You're okay. Please, by the way, put more words in his mouth, because you're still not explaining to me the difference between express concern and this little part right here, which kind of might be the standard by which, yeah. Also, I appreciate you have the anti-5G painting over your dresser.
I wrote to, I called my company has an ethics line. I called them to address a couple different concerns.
Mm-hmm.
I had seen the Pfizer report about vaccine shedding, which was a concern for me. I had also seen reports about women's menstrual cycles being changed, altered, whether they had received the vaccine or whether they had just, we believe they may have just been next to someone who had received the vaccine.
What? You believe what? That a woman's menstrual cycle is affected by being by someone that's had just being near them?
And that was concerning. But when we decided that, or when the FDA had approved it for children and ACI.
What? I'm sorry, they did what? I'm sorry, they approved it for who?
He had agreed that it would be acceptable to administer to 12 years and up. That was in the beginning of May, early May, maybe late April. I think the calls that I had placed to my company were like the first week of May.
Mm-hmm.
That I had called to address the ethics line. I heard no response. I also then emailed like our media relations because I was trying to remain anonymous, and you can imagine why, because it didn't pan out well for me in the end if I didn't remain anonymous. So that's what I did. I tried that. I reached out to OSHA with my exact same concerns.
And what were those exact concerns, Joel? If you can
I'm loving the edits.
share with us, please.
Honestly, my first concern is
I have a hard time believing that she did the interview with this dude. This is such a punch in, but that's a small
Big
point.
Pharma has just released a brand new experimental, because it's not FDA approved, so I'll say experimental shot. When I saw in Pfizer's trial that they had expressed vaccine shedding, and they expressed it as environmental passing on through environment, skin to skin or inhalation. So
hold on. Skin to skin vaccine shedding. Claim. Pfizer admits, the claim is, Pfizer admits in its COVID-19 clinical trial protocol document that vaccinated people can shed the vaccine, emitting materials that can spread to unvaccinated people by inhalation or skin contact. AP's assessment, false. COVID-19 vaccines that are in use, including the Pfizer vaccine, cannot spread between people. Posts making the false claim are misrepresenting standard language in the protocol document intended to protect pregnant women and monitor their potential exposure during clinical trials. The facts. Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine does not shed from person to person, nor has the company admitted any such thing. The Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine is a synthetic mRNA vaccine and does not contain any virus particles. Because there is no virus produced in the body, no shedding occurs within the human body, Pfizer spokesman Jerrica Pitts told the AP in an email. The vaccine cannot be inhaled via shedding and can only enter the body through an administered dose. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved Pfizer's vaccine in December. What? They did what? They did what? The U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved Pfizer's vaccine in December after extensive clinical trial. They did what? They approved. So they approved that. Women who were pregnant or breastfeeding were excluded from joining those early clinical trials, and participants were instructed to take measures to avoid pregnancy. The false post use of a portion of a November clinical trial protocol document that addresses pregnant women to support the bogus theory that a vaccinated person can spread the vaccine or provoke supposed side effects in another person. The document says any exposure during pregnancy should be reported and defines such cases broadly to include instances where a pregnant woman is exposed to the vaccine by inhalation or skin contact, or if a man who received the vaccine or is exposed to it then exposes his female partner prior to or around the time of conception. That language can be relevant to other kinds of vaccines, including certain ones that contain live viruses, said Dr. Justin Brandt, an assistant professor at the Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Sciences at Rutgers. That language probably doesn't have any relevance to this specific type of vaccine platform, said said Brandt of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine, which does not contain live virus. Dr. Shobha Swaminathan, an associate professor of medicine at Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School, referred to the document's language as generic, meant to cover cases of any potential exposures, including possible accidental ones. Swaminathan told the Associated Press that exposure through inhalation or skin contact could refer to incidents where a pregnant woman was near a syringe that contained the product and it accidentally broke. But in the case of COVID-19 vaccines, the degree of absorption from spilling the vaccine on your skin is probably going to be negligible or non-existent. Regarding the document's guidelines requiring reporting if a vaccinated man potentially exposed a woman around the time of conception, Swaminathan said the language is meant to gather information on any type of exposure before the risks are known. Initially, you might not potentially know whether any of the vaccine is actually getting into the semen if any of the semen are affected. At this stage of research, however, she said, we know that it really does not affect fertility at all. False posts have misrepresented this protocol document as evidence that unvaccinated people, particularly pregnant women, should keep away from people vaccinated against COVID-19. The AP has previously debunked that theory. So that's that, just in case you're wondering where that shit came from. And by the way, that article is from May 6th. So it's been a little bit well before this asshole got into trouble that he's dealing with, because he's talking about when they're approving it for teenagers and his concerns coming about that.
That was concerning for me because the company who's making the product admits or is aware or knows or realizes that that could be a problem.
No, they generically try to, when in a scientific experiment, try to exclude as many variables as possible so that they can focus on the most widely accepted version of reality, which is, does it work on the actual disease? Are other people, what if somebody gets exposed to it, doesn't harm them, but they spontaneously don't get COVID, and we don't realize that it's because of shedding of the vaccine through semen, and particularly and then by having sex with someone who's been vaccinated, it's better for you. I'm just saying that idea, they're trying to exclude those possibilities to narrowly focus on the efficacy of the vaccine itself. And they don't know about side effects, so they're not doing children and pregnant women right away. That's the normal order of science, and they should take guards against doing that, because we're trying to focus on healthy members of the population, people with comorbidities, people who will most likely be affected, certain age groups, yada yada.
Whether it is a problem or not, they don't.
It's not.
Don't know, and so that was
they do know
concern. And then
they now know, they make sure they know before they say they know. And when they don't know, they guard against the potential for something happening that's caused by something they don't know. That's how fucking science works.
I started to see these reports from women about changes to their menstrual cycle.
Yeah. Have you now?
And, sometimes not even having one. I mean, it's very.
You mean the same thing that happened all during COVID, when people are cohabitating together and their entire cycles have been thrown off?
Very concerning, because There's no long-term trials. There's no long-term data.
But you know what there's a long-term trial of? Dead COVID people.
We have no clue what the end result could be for any of this. And a huge concern I have is for women of, I mean, it's for all people, first and foremost, but women of childbearing age. I mean, we don't know what could happen.
Yeah, they could have children that have a 666 across it. I mean, Rosemary's Baby. I mean, we're that close.
To anyone, much less women who would be looking to carry on the future generations of humans.
Right. So that is
Yeah, that's really
where
scary.
you put your foot down. And
Yeah, that's where he put his foot
you
down.
basically said you will not be giving this vaccine to the younger population. What happens soon after that?
With all the
Well, they went, why do you want to make children with young people? What's it?
other information that I have, shared between the women and just all my concerns in general, I said, I'm just not going to, I don't feel comfortable giving this shot to anyone who is 50 years and younger.
Okay, so not younger people. So you're fine with people who, I'm 51, I'll be 52 in September. So fuck me, right? Is that the idea? My morals stop at how useful I think someone. So you're an ageist is the issue.
Without some more information. So when I expressed my ethical concern for refusing to give the shot, pretty much to everybody who's 50, 65 or younger, I was terminated from my position. I was fired.
Yeah.
And just a reminder for those at home, as a pharmacist, as a healthcare provider, you have the right, the ethical, moral, or religious grounds to not provide a certain service.
Right, but you have the ethical, moral, and religious, ability to do that on your own fucking time. No company has to keep you on for refusing to do your job for religious purposes. Otherwise, Christians would be able to clog up porn production like crazy.
We see this with providers not selling Plan B to a young female.
Right.
If that is against their religious beliefs. So why is this any different? Joel, do you believe there are other healthcare providers out there that have the same hesitations you did, but are just too afraid of what the repercussions would be to speak up?
Definitely. I mean, I think that's part of what has happened to the healthcare system. I believe that's what, it's not just pharmacists. I mean, anyone in the healthcare system.
Yeah, vitamin salesmen.
There's been a slow takeover of this kind of corporate healthcare push. There are other.
Why is that guy taking his entire shirt off to get the vaccine? I mean, come on, dude.
People out there.
Hello, ladies.
Other pharmacists, nurses, doctors, physicians who feel the same way. America's FrontlineDoctors.org is one place that you can start. AFLDS.org. America's FrontlineDoctors.org is one group that I'm working with where I found very like-minded people. And you're not alone. You are not alone.
No, and it's these days with the level of internet interaction that people can have. Let's see, hold on. Vaccine-induced immune responses to infection, immune transfer, RNAs, curve via planet. I'm trying to read through the. I need to open up the. Well, if I open up another chat thing, the whole thing will collapse. So hold
on. It can be a scary stance to take. If you are younger in your profession, the odds are very good that you have tremendous amounts of student loan debt, and it can be very scary to not have.
I don't know. I mean, and you didn't learn anything.
A career, just kind of overnight. But you have rights in this country. You can take an ethical stance.
Well, Joel, we thank you.
Yeah, but you don't get to keep your job if you're refusing to give people, like, what if you think measles are God's way of weeding out the weak? Seriously. What if it's not that, I ethically have a problem with this was rushed, and mainly it's just my own personal beliefs. And then you get into the religious beliefs like she's talking about with Plan B. And then you mix the two of those and you go, I just think some people should be sterilized. And therefore, I'm just swapping out what I'm giving them as an injection because I know they wouldn't take it otherwise. And so ethically, I have the right to act out my religious psychopathy on someone else. or if I'm an absolute Darwinist. And anybody who asks for the vaccine, I believe that they should win the Darwin Award, so I had the right to poison them. Like, how far off is that from this belief system?
Thank you for adhering to that oath that you took and putting the people first. Thank you so much.
The people first?
Much.
Want to see more videos like?
No, I don't. Not really. No, honestly. I'm not sure anybody does. That's why you're on Rumble. God made science. He had a hand in the vaccine bottle. I know that's the argument too. You know, it's the, you know, I've mentioned this before, but I think my favorite joke is the guy who's, it's raining really heavily and the flood starts to rise around his property and it gets up to the edge of his porch. He's sitting on his porch and some guys literally row into his front lawn and go, "Hey man, the rain's going to keep coming. You know, get in the boat. We'll take you to safety." And he's like, "Don't worry about it. God will save me." And the floods continue to rise. He goes inside the house as the flood rises and he ends up sitting on the roof, and another boat comes by and they're like, "Dude, the dam's about to break. Get in the boat. We're going to take you to safety." He's like, "No, God will save me." Finally, he's sitting on top of his chimney and a helicopter flies over and goes, "Everything's been cleared out. This is your last chance. Grab hold of the ladder and we'll take you to safety." And he goes, "No, God will save me." And the waters keep rising and he drowns and he goes to heaven and he walks up to St. Peter and he goes, "I'd like to speak to God and I have a complaint." And he stomps up to God and he goes, I don't know why you didn't save me. I profess my faith and you let me drown." And God said, "Asshole, I sent you 2 boats and a helicopter." So that's where we have, this is, "Asshole, I sent you 2 boats and a helicopter." That's where we are with these idiots. Okay, so Larry Kudlow, who apparently farts right before he goes on air every single time. I mean, you can't, there's no other explanation for this face, really. I mean, that's just, look at the man. He looks like he was trying to get a key to stick to his forehead, and he ended up swallowing it instead. But this is Kudlow. Do you believe Biden's new line? Now, let's see what he thinks Biden's new line is.
Everyone, welcome to Kudlow. I'm Larry Kudlow.
Oh, thank God. Otherwise, they would have had a really awkward meeting about it. Who named this show that?
A little bit under the weather, too much humidity and allergies, but I hope my voice holds up.
Now, yeah, it's probably, yeah. And obviously, whatever you do, don't get, any kind of a shot. You might become magnetic.
Now, as of this reporting, there is no deal between Senator Shelley Moore Capito and President Biden.
Shelley Moore Capito?
Senator Capito herself says she doesn't expect an infrastructure deal. And Republican Senate Leader Mitch McConnell.
Outlook doesn't look good for an infrastructure deal. By the way, they just passed a huge chunk of it. I'll tell you about that in a minute.
Says the era of bipartisanship is over. Take a listen.
It's pretty clear the era of bipartisanship is over. We passed.
Yeah, that's what we call your entire tenure as the Senate Majority Leader.
6 bills so far this year, significant bills on a bipartisan basis.
Yeah, and who voted against them?
Bills that came out of committee that had buy-in from both sides. Yeah. But I think that's coming to a screeching halt.
Sure. You know, it's funny. I remember when President Clinton said the era of big government is over. This was after Democrats got blown out of Congress back in 1994. And Mr. Clinton said in his State of the Union in 95, the era of big government's over. But
right,
that statement actually had some historical beef to it because big government had been going on progressively for, 40, 50 years.
Yeah, and the goal of conservatism for the last 40 years is to shrink the federal government so small that Russia could drown it in a bathtub. And then basically a delivery system for Bush and then Trump. Because who wants a large functioning federal government when you're the biggest, most important country in the world? Don't you think that the biggest and most powerful country in the world should have really just operate on a skeleton crew? Shouldn't it?
Now, in terms of Senator McConnell's assertion that...
I think Senator McConnell's assertion is that you need to lay off the bourbon. And he's from Kentucky. He knows what he's talking about.
Bipartisanship is over.
Bipartisanship is over. Seriously? You're that drunk.
It's hard to find that we ever had any. I mean, it could have been 10 minutes. I don't think it was 10 days. Remember, the first Biden's...
Well, there wasn't, I mean, excuse me. Even if it was 10 minutes, that's 10 minutes that didn't exist during the entire Trump presidency. What are you talking about?
Spending relief bill last winter. Even that was not bipartisan.
No, it wasn't bipartisan.
I mean, they had to go to reconciliation because the Democrats just steamrolled the Republicans. And let the record show that the last bipartisan actions were the pandemic relief packages negotiated by former President Trump and
the Democrats.
His team. Recall that in April and December of 2020, we did not use reconciliation. There were...
Yeah, we were in the middle. I mean, we're breaking into the worst part of the pandemic where we ended up losing hundreds of thousands of Americans. It was, you know, the last time things were really bipartisan? Let me say a little something about being bipartisan, okay? The last time, if you'll recall, bipartisan, where it was like all hands on deck, everybody was working together, was when President Trump saw the iceberg and thought, what a nice thing. Wouldn't the view from the Titanic be beautiful if we got as close to that thing as possible? And then when he did that, everybody came out of the woodwork going, I'll help, let's get out of here. Come on, help us. Everybody in lifeboats. Like it was nothing brings people together like shrugging off a pandemic until it's absolutely a disaster.
There were bipartisan votes with lopsided winning majorities.
Yeah, and what caused that? By the way, who was dragging ass on that, by the way? Trump and his entire team. I don't know, I only asked for $2 billion. They want to give me $8 billion, I'll take it, right? Remember that?
Now, my own view is that Senator Mitch McConnell is absolutely right. There isn't going to be any bipartisanship going forward. Just take a look at what the Democrats are doing to Joe Manchin.
Yeah, look at what they're doing to Joe Manchin.
The guy's standing up for principle, right?
Yeah, this is what it's for. And by principle, I mean the Koch brothers, but sure.
Favors leaving the filibuster just like it is. Less than 4 years ago, the filibuster was maintained with a sizable bipartisan majority that included Biden and Schumer and Manchin.
Yeah, but that was also before the Republican Party fell off a cliff of insanity and stopped participating in democracy and started working, you know, from a point of view as a sabotage party. I mean, the filibuster has value when all sides are playing together on a principled level. You guys have just deepened your fealty to Donald Trump, and that's having somebody be able to filibuster because they're a follower of Jim Jones would not be valuable. See what I mean? See what I'm saying?
And now,
Pineapple
because
Farm?
the West Virginian is standing up to principle, he's even being consistent. His own party is killing him. By the way, that...
Yeah, but he's being consistent, but the Republicans are being inconsistent over the last 10 years especially. That they have just taken the idea that they're a corresponding party trying to get things done in a positive sense and have just gone, you know what, the problem is government, we need to wreck it from the inside.
Filibuster bill had 33 Democratic votes to keep the filibuster. And altogether, the bipartisan majority in both parties was over 60 votes. So now there's a lot of hypocrisy by Mr. Schumer and others. So I don't know if this is the total...
And by the way, has Schumer effectively said we're getting rid of the filibuster fully, or this has been mostly a media conversation?
Of any
Yeah, that's true. There's only one Koch brother.
Partisanship. I think we're just in the era of partisanship.
Well, and you know what? It's probably all Biden's fault. He's been in for 4 months. Obviously, all of these problems are his.
You know, you can't even be a good
You can't.
partisan anymore. I mean, that's the weird part about this.
That's so weird.
You have the far progressive left taking over the party, but in an odd sort of way, I'm fine with it. I'm sorry they're beating up on Manchin, and they'll probably go after Sinema, and they'll probably go after Tester of Montana, probably vote against this thing. I don't care, because you know what? It vastly...
You know what? I'm junk. That's what.
Reduces the chances that progressives getting their green worker paradise with massive taxes and Green New Deal and huge social spending and all the rest of it. So, fine. No bipartisanship. maybe no bill at all with one reconciliation package. Now, here's something I'm not okay with.
Uh-oh.
That is the U.S. Treasury Secretary
finally getting the 15% minimum tax rate across all the countries.
Fighting hard.
Something that you couldn't actually get, that the U.S. has been fighting for over 8 years. And they finally, all these countries agreed to it, and you couldn't do it because you...
The G7 finance ministers against American interests, okay?
Oh.
She seems very proud of herself for going multinational in order to raise taxes on America's own businesses. Now, go figure.
Huh?
Forget American voters or taxpayers.
Why would that affect American businesses? If you're headquartered in Ireland, but your entire company is actually here, are you an American company?
Ms. Yellen has turned policy authority to the G7.
No.
Or the G20.
Really? Because it was America's idea. Because people were running to places like Ireland to set up their corporate headquarters so that they wouldn't have to pay billions of dollars in American taxes.
20. Or the OECD, or the IMF, or the World Bank, or the
or whoever, in a number of places.
Multilateralism.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. Hold on one second. Let me see. I'm going to try something just to kind of... just trying this 1 second. Maybe it's the doubling of some of these things. I'm going to try and see if I can smooth some of this out. Yeah, it's still choppy. There you go. Let's take this out. I'm going to drop my name because I think it might be the some of the browser source things that just act up, but we'll see. I'll take it in a second. I'm going to, pardon me, point of order, if I may, Mr. Chairman, as I pop back in to this page and see if in the couple seconds it takes to load in these things, because it takes extra time, the choppiness will start or something. We'll figure it. Okay. Fingers crossed.
Not good. The last administration, you may recall, put America first.
And by what? By allowing other countries to have zero taxes for corporations so that they could leave the United States and go there, while we, the taxpayers in the United States, pay for all their intellectual property rights and defend their technology against China and other places that would steal it, but they don't pay any of the taxes that provide for those protections.
And that president said only Americans can determine American tax policy. Now, as we'll discuss,
ours is higher than that. They're just setting a floor.
Later in the show, the Yellen tax hikes are going to be very painful and will do great damage to our economy and, frankly, the rest of the world's economy, outside of China, of course, which won't pay any attention to any of it. They're way too.
Yeah, but they have a different system entirely, because in China, the federal government just owns half the company. They just take half. So, I mean, like, you can look at it as like, later, there's no tax structure. They don't take taxes from these. No, they just own it. It's theirs.
Too smart. And as an aside, besides the tax war against successful American businesses, I just want to note the G7 is fighting a tax war against Ireland, which has the lowest business tax rate, and by far.
And so, and by the way, this is where all of his buddies hide all their companies, and that's what they're pissed about. This is the variation on the Cayman Islands theory. Put your money in Switzerland and the Cayman Islands so you can hide how much you have, and then you do business in Ireland so that you don't have any. Yeah, it's
strongest economy in Europe, and it's had it for many years with it.
Yeah, but it's the Delaware of Europe. There's none of those companies are there. There aren't any of these factories. That's what some of the people in Northern Ireland are pissed about. How do you have all these major multinational corporations that exist in your country, pay no taxes effectively, pay like fees to the government for existing there, but don't end up giving any jobs to the people there?
With its low tax rates. We're going to have a look at that story also. There's all kinds of little subplots going on after.
Yeah, it's almost like it requires some actual thought instead of painting in these broad strokes with crayons and hammers.
This G7 tax grab, none of it is any good at all. Now, Kamala Harris, she kind of got close to the Mexican border, but never really saw it, as far as I know. She toured Guatemala and Mexico City, but I don't think she ever hit the border. But then again, she never hit Europe either. More on that in a moment. But
speaking of morons, go ahead, Larry.
Meanwhile, the leader of Biden immigration policy, who has never seen the border, is now saying this. Check it out.
I want to be clear to folks in this region who are thinking about making that dangerous trek to the United States-Mexico border. Do not come. Do not come. And I believe if you come to our border, you will be turned back.
Yeah, that kind of shoots the whole open borders Democrats thing in the foot, don't you think? Larry, it's hard to really run a kind of progressive, why do we even have a border, open borders policy if that's how the vice president is saying it and how the president was saying, like, this is it? This is, yeah.
So that's a lot different than what they said in 2019. During that winter when this debacle started, listen to this. So it's really...
Wait, what was that? Listen to what?
During that winter when this debacle started, listen to this. So it's really quite...
What'd you cut out? Flashback 2020, President of Canada's push to decriminalize illegal border crossings. Push to decriminalize illegal border crossings. I don't know what clip they showed.
How
sorry.
they changed their view.
Interesting how you won't show the clip that you referenced after the fact. Was it a CNN clip and you don't have the rights?
Within the past year, and even to a large extent within the last 4 or 5 months. Well, I think we know why, because it's been a catastrophe at the border.
It's a catastrophe. Apparently the wall didn't work. Is that the catastrophe you're talking about?
I'm sorry, at the open border.
If it's open, why are they saying the border's not open in English and Spanish within 2 weeks of being in office, setting a process to stop the immigration coming up from South America and slowing it as best they can, working with those governments for the return of people who come up here and their safe return at that. How do you run an open border policy that way? They're being ironic. That's what it is. It's like Trump. They're being sarcastic. It's like, you know how Trump was saying when he said, maybe get a light bulb up your ass and drink some bleach and that'll cure it. Or he was being sarcastic. It wasn't an idea, even though Dr. Birx looked like she was about to have an aneurysm because she knew he was telling the truth. This is basically the same thing. Kamala Harris is being sarcastic.
And so now politics is reigning. Question is, do you believe the new line?
What's to believe? That's the policy. The new line. The new line is what is from you, which is somehow what they're doing is bad. Oh, God. It's Rudy. Giuliani is on Newsmax because that's where they'll have him. And he's wearing a bow tie in honor. I think it's the anniversary of Tucker Carlson's adult circumcision. And so you do that. I guess they do that every year. The first one didn't take, so it might be twice a year. Giuliani, Biden, you're a damn phony and a crook. I'm sure he's really upset.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
Let's see.
I mean, the Bidens can do anything.
Well, that's very positive.
Including, there's far worse things on there. How about the message in which...
Look at this guy with his son who's just died and his other son's dealing with addiction and dealing with his brother's death from brain cancer. And here he is hugging and kissing his son. But, obviously, I'm glad they're showing this picture just because it triggers Greg Kelly's homophobic panic during Pride Month.
The psychiatrist says he's a danger to the children. And then all you have...
No, they didn't. Somebody said that he was to the psychiatrist. Where?
To do is look at...
And again, these are allegations from the alleged...
The pictures in there. And you can tell the psychiatrist is absolutely right given the way in which he was going around the house where 2 young children lived. And then some of the other pictures that I won't even mention.
The ones that you have multiple copies of in your house, but that you won't share with. And by the way, that's new, Rudy. So the FBI shows up. This is the first time we're getting this angle. The FBI shows up, Rudy. You know they're coming. They've given you warning. And suddenly there's a shredder in your office. That's interesting. And then a little bag on the side. So Rudy, are you shredding things, putting them in a separate bag and not the garbage and getting rid of them that way? That's pretty fascinating. Yeah?
In which the FBI and the Delaware police have covered up.
Oh, they've covered it up? They cover the FBI and the Delaware police. I mean, obviously, that's where you go. You know who's covered it up, Rudy? You have. If there's anything to this, you blew the case.
They have a responsibility to protect children, by the way, even if it is a Biden. And they completely shirk that responsibility.
He's a grown man.
This is disgraceful, Greg. It's absolutely disgraceful what's happened.
That's the picture? That's a bathroom selfie with his shirt open? That's the concern? Man, how far crack addicts fall if they do Fonz pictures?
To American justice in order to turn it around.
Yeah, who doesn't smoke crack to cool off?
So they can.
I need to take a nap. Yeah, smoking a cigarette in the tub, obviously not. Is there an allegation? Is there someone reflected in the glass that I should be worried about? I'm dead serious. These are the pictures they're showing that are supposed to, and by the way, deep fakes until proven otherwise. But why is he covering his nipples if he's a derelict, like they're saying?
They can protect this. I mean, the guy, among other.
This what? This what? Protect this what, Rudy? This what?
Things.
Is smoking in bed?
There's like one crime after another that's
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously indoors. It's probably a hotel room. You know, he's never going to get his security deposit back.
On there. Easy crime.
Oh, that one again. Good. Go back to it's. I thought, and here I thought you were just going to be cycling the same 5 pictures over and over again, Rudy.
Crimes that people get.
I'm glad they give him photo credit, though.
Prosecuted for all the time. How about all the drug use? Biden passed a law that put all these African American people in jail.
Oh, did he? Biden passed a law that put all these African American. You mean the crime bill, the one that black mayors all over the country were asking for? That's that one.
Forever for using probably 1/10 of the drugs his son was using.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to be arrested with the drugs on you at the time. Not have. I mean, there's a problem. Like, I'll give you an example, Rudy. Let's just say, for a point of argument, that smoking cigarettes was illegal. This is not evidence of smoking a cigarette in a court of law. This is evidence of something in your mouth that looks like a cigarette that is itself smoking. See what I'm saying? Like, it's not, you can't go back and go, I have a picture of you with a crack pipe. You're going down for crack piping.
I mean, that doesn't mean anything.
Hey, no, we are not going back in people's lives who were addicts and prosecuting them after the fact for drugs they admit they did when they were addicts. What, honest to God, just think about the legal nature of that. Just run that scenario through your head for a minute with every drug user. We're going to go back and, well.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, and you know I'm on your side. I think.
Ugh, what is the licking of the lips?
Hey, Mr. Mayor, and you know I'm on your side. I think you've been.
Yikes.
Unfairly.
What? Unfairly what? Raided?
Persecuted.
Aw.
Right, I have.
You're done right. I have persecuted.
You've been unfairly persecuted, and you're in your office right now. And I know the FBI showed up there a couple of weeks ago. Look.
Yeah, and they didn't take your shredder? That's weird.
For material. Can you update?
Did they look for material or did they look for communication devices? Rudy, don't never pass up an opportunity, Rudy, to tell him the story about how they kicked your door in. Lie about law enforcement again.
And what's happening with that? They took some electronic devices. They were very selective about it. It was pretty obvious to me that it was political. Was it happening? What have they told you?
Oh, they don't tell me anything. They've been investigating.
Yeah, that's how it works. Hey, Rudy, when you were working at SDNY, and you were running a RICO case, did you run down to the head of one of the 5 families and tell them, guys, this is what we're doing with the evidence we've gathered on you, and this is what the process for our wiretap was all about? Yeah, I'm sorry about the choppiness, guys. I have to find out a way to fix that. It's very weird. Hold on one second. Maybe it could be a RAM issue. I'm gonna hopefully, if I bring these down, maybe it'll take a second. Maybe it'll smooth it out. It's hard to tell. I'm going to switch software tomorrow, guys, so I apologize for the choppiness of it. It's our last day as Max Headroom. Sorry.
Investigating me for over 2 years now, Greg. I mean...
Yeah, normally they would send you a flyer if they're investigating someone, right?
And they're investigating me for failing to file. And I just noticed...
failing to file what?
They have a similar case against Steve Wynn, and it's a civil case. Except he failed to file about China, which is one of our enemies. My failure to file was for some...
Ukrainian oligarch, which means he's a Russian sock puppet, which means he's an agent of the Russian government, which means he's aligned with Vladimir Putin, which is an enemy of the country.
Ukrainian prosecutor general, which everybody knew I was dealing with anyway. First of all, I didn't have to file. And secondly, there was no harm, no foul. Everybody knew I was involved with it. Nobody knew that Steve Wynn was lobbying for China. Now, I don't want to see Steve get in trouble. I think this
Why not?
law is being misused. But why are they pursuing him civilly? And for 2 years, they're trying to put me in jail.
Well, because his was a minor lobbying issue, and yours was as an agent of a foreign government. You were actually feeding them information backwards. It wasn't that, Steve Wynn's lobbying to try and get benefits for probably a casino in Macau and shit like that, whereas you were actually talking back and forth. You were relating stuff from the U.S. government back to them, and you were materially close to the president and therefore had access to certain information that made you more dangerous.
Something unfair about that, maybe?
Yeah, no.
No. And why are you licking your lips so oddly? Is it the bow tie? Did you have to lick it to get it started?
Oh, it seems all right, so technically right now, Hunter Biden is under investigation. But
for tax issues.
But you shake your head, because it does seem like there's absolutely no momentum and nothing's happening and nothing will happen.
Well, they've had this hard drive now for 2 years.
Yeah, but it's fake.
The hard drive is crying out for investigation.
No, it isn't. That's why they looked into your iCloud afterwards, even during the Trump administration. That's why they started looking at it, because they know it's fake. They know that Russia hacked into Burisma. They know that they got some legit stuff of Hunter's. They mixed it with a bunch of stuff. They made some compromise. They handed it to you so that you could disseminate it during the election. And that's exactly what you proceeded to do, making you an agent of a foreign government that goes even beyond the Ukrainian oligarch, the organ. Like, this is so obvious.
The hard drive says that children are in danger.
No, it doesn't.
He even admits it.
What? And by the way, why are you now calling it the hard drive and not the laptop? And why are there 3 copies of it? And why are you making copies of things that you believe have child pornography on them and storing them in your home?
Hunter admits it. And these people who are supposed to be American law enforcement have done nothing about it. 5 weeks ago, it came out that he signed a false application for...
Oh, this is the whole thing about the gun and
for a
whatever.
revolver.
Right.
He denied that he was a drug addict. There's a picture of him using drugs 5 days before.
Is it? Is it a real picture? Can you legitimately guarantee it's a real picture? Is there really crack in it? Is it weed in a legal state that he's smoking in it as a gag? Is he real? I mean, I don't doubt that he's really an addict.
You know how the law is enforced in New York. He'd be in jail in 2 minutes for that. Who is he? Why is he getting away with this? I'll tell you.
Because he's not, I don't know, waving a gun and smoking crack in the middle. He Has he tried shooting someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue? Maybe.
Why? Because of Joe Biden and the corrupt influence of the Democratic Party on these DAs. I mean, the district attorney's office in Manhattan is afraid to go after a Democrat.
For what? Again, for what? The idea that he was an addict?
But they'll search Donald Trump's whole life. In the case of Donald Trump and me and the Trump people, they investigate to try to find a crime.
No, I mean, they're aware of what the crimes are. That Trump said his property was worth less when he talked to the IRS and worth more when he talked to loan companies. That's illegal. That Alan Weisselberg is basically telling them all of this. Michael Cohen mentioned it. Weisselberg is the co-head of the company in a lot of ways. He knows the actual aspect of it. The other stuff with Trump and you is a totally different animal.
What prosecutors are supposed to do is investigate crimes.
Right, that's what they're doing. Yeah. And you gave them this phony hard drive. They can look at the metadata, see that it was constructed compromat in Ukraine, and then suddenly, magically, when you give them this hard drive copy, again, a copy of the hard drive from the laptop, allegedly, suddenly they look at it, they send it through the forensics works, and they go, oh shit, this is fiction. This is made up compromat. And Rudy is bringing it to the FBI to try and jumpstart an investigation while he's working on behalf of the president to try and stop his political opponent from running for office because that's the person he fears the most. And that's what the FARA violation is going to be about. When they finally get to the full thing, when there's a trial about it, if he doesn't plead to something else, and which I doubt he will, when they finally go to court about this, it's going to be about the fact that he brought this phony hard drive in and got busted for it.
Not try to go find crimes. Well, they got about 100 in the hard drive.
No, they don't. Because again, it's fake. But even if it was real, and you give everything to him that it's real, Rudy Giuliani is still in possession of the original. He's been disseminating copies of it to other people. He's made multiple copies of it, and he's had the evidence in his possession for so long as an opponent of the father of the father of the son that's compromised in this allegedly. All of that evidence is tainted, and no one would be able to use it in court. No one.
Crimes. They don't have to go investigate and find them.
Yeah.
They got them right there. And when I offered the hard drive to the FBI agent,
they said, no, because they're there for communication devices. They already know what's in it.
After ripping apart my law office.
Did they rip it apart? See, there we go again, shitting on the FBI and law enforcement. Did they rip it apart, or did they do a standard search? They made you open the safe, didn't they, Rudy?
And taking attorney-client privilege material, which doesn't even seem to bother the judge. They're going to have a master go through it. Nobody should go through this.
Well, that's what a mob lawyer would say.
This is attorney-client privilege material.
No. There's limits on that, and that's why you have a special master look into it.
And only lawyers I know that get raided are Trump lawyers.
Well, mob lawyers, and yeah.
Some highlights from Joe Biden when it comes to talking about race. He should talk, huh? Watch.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, right. Buddy.
We have racists, and they've existed. They've tried to get elected president. He's the first one that has. What you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African-American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community. And the way he pits people against one another is all designed to divide the country. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
And he's the guy who's going to lecture us, Mr. Mayor, on race.
I get so
mad at that.
So angry when he does.
Oh, it's terrible.
That. I really do. I mean, he tells us we're systemically racist, which means that almost
who's us?
All of America is racist. Systemically means pervasive, thorough, the entire organization. He has said 100 times that America is systemically racist.
No, he hasn't. Please show a quote.
The Chinese have written it down and thrown it in his face. It means we're an unfair country. We're an evil country. Well, Joe, speak for yourself. I never had any friends that were the head of the KKK. You did.
Well, no. I mean, obviously, they wouldn't let Trump be the head of the KKK. He just doesn't have the organizational capacity.
Never made the comments about busing that you made, or about my children not growing up in a jungle. Maybe the kid learned to talk that way because of you, Joe, because you're a damn phony and you're a crook for 30 years.
What's the shredder for, Rudy? What's the shredder for, Rudy? Why is it there all of a sudden? Why all of a sudden when the FBI starts looking into you and you find out why is that new? That's an addition, Rudy. We've seen this angle before. I also don't know why this spotlight is pointed at the glory hole, but that's probably, you'll tell us later. All right, here we go.
Maybe the Attorney General doesn't have the guts to go after you, but you know that I know you
know that I know
and your family have been crooked for 30 years. You've stolen millions of dollars. You don't belong anywhere in that White House. You belong
You tell him, Rudy. I'm sure he's watching this. What would you say to him right now, Rudy?
in another house, and that's why you want to destroy me. But you're not.
Really? He wants to destroy you? I don't think he gives a shit, Rudy. Honestly.
Not going to do it, Joe.
That's the host's name is Greg.
The Big House.
He shouldn't be president of the United States, even if the New York Times wants him there.
Hey, wait a sec. I got to fact check you, though. He was not the Grand Wizard of the KKK. He was an Imperial Cyclops in the KKK.
I thought he was I thought he was a Grand Cyclops.
Maybe he was a Grand Cyclops.
But it's not funny.
It's not. Well,
I don't know
it's so ridiculous.
Cyclops?
I know it's ridiculous. Listen, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, you're the best. Thank you. Come back anytime, and we'll be right back.
I learned a lot. All right. So, and then our final one, there's got to be, where is it? Here it is. Liberal activist, get ready, exposes what Biden's infrastructure plan is really about. You know what? Because this is choppy, I might do this tomorrow. I'm going to fix this, and it's because it's going to drive me crazy. I've got to fix this video chop. It's going to, so I'm going to, and we're a little over anyways. So let me work on that, and I will see you guys tomorrow, and we'll go well on, into that tomorrow, shall we? Yeah, I mean, the idea that Joe was talking, and he's talking about people who he served in the House and Senate with. But in Rudy's case, obviously, there's no footage, by the way. It's weird that there's no rolling footage of, Hunter Biden laying on a bed with his hand down his pants as a girl who he believes is 15 years old is in the room. That he just tried to touch her on the ass. That isn't in the hard drive. Just saying. All right. So